Stephen, I'm your father. Well, that was a pretty sad impression. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. This is vlog number 411 for June the 16th, 2025, and I hope everybody had a nice Father's Day. I don't have a father, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah. And although I miss my dad, I don't miss trying to figure out what to get him for Father's Day. Because, well, probably most of you know what I mean. It's not easy to buy for a dad. It's not easy to buy for a mom either. Well, neither one of those two do I have to worry about anymore. Okay, let's move on before we go into an area that is dark. Let's talk about something that's light. Yeah, what I've been making. So, here we go. Barn Star Sampler is completely finished, all done, and it's on my bed. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about a little problem I had with this. When is it that I make a quilt where everything goes smoothly? I don't know if other people are like that or not, but yeah, I had a few problems. Lucy and I had words, that's my long arm, and we'll talk about that in more detail tomorrow, but it's done and I'm very pleased with the finished product and it looks great on our bed. Meanwhile, I have been working in bits and pieces, but I've gotten quite a ways ahead because yesterday Russ of Quilt Meets World had his sewing shenanigans, his irregular, I guess you'd say, whenever the mood strikes him. He has a sew day, and he had one on Sunday, and I got way ahead on this quilt, and well, way ahead. I wasn't behind. It was just, Anyways, I have 5 sets of the blocks done out of 6, and I'm working on the 6th one. So I think sometime this week, excuse me, if all goes well, I'll be able to put this quilt together. This is a quilt of valor. More about that tomorrow. And I made this for some friends. In July, we are going into Toronto where they live for dinner. And I made this as a little thank you gift, hostess gift, whatever. There's a little bit more behind this than just that. But again, I will reveal all on Idiot Quilter tomorrow. So you'll have to tune into that. I know, I'm a tease. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. And this one is all about juice jacking. I don't know if you've heard of this, but this was news to me. Apparently, you can go well, let's just put it this way. When you're in an airport, for example, and you're waiting for your flight, and of course, there's all kinds of USB plugins all over the place, so you can charge up your phone or your iPad, whatever. Well, apparently those aren't safe for a variety of reasons, but mainly because people, through your little USB cord, who would have thought, can put malware on your phone. Yeah, just another thing we have to worry about, right? So anyways, this particular video explains what this is all about. This week's video from YouTube is not really a video on YouTube. It was an article that Walter came across in Forbes magazine, and it's called How Juice Jackers Plant Malware on Your Phone at Airports and Hotels. And this is quite alarming because all of us who travel have our devices with us and we're plugging into everything and in public places to recharge. And who would have thought that simply recharging your phone could put you in danger of downloading malware? Well, this article tells you all about it, and I've also put a link to a YouTube video that talks about it as well. So you will want to check this out. Now, after reading this article, I got a little bit concerned about this because, we travel quite a bit, and I have been known to plug into my hotel room, especially hotel rooms. If they've got a USB port, I'm plugged in to charge up my devices. So I have bought something, and I'll show those to you in a moment, that they talk about in this article and are very inexpensive and are supposed to help prevent this problem. They're called USB blockers. They're very inexpensive, under $15 for a package or two of them or whatever. So I have invested in those. And as I said, I'll show those to you in a minute. But, you know, these hackers get everywhere, don't they? We're just not safe anymore. I guess the only way you can be truly safe from being electronically scammed is to go off the grid. And that's not really an option in today's world. And later I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to avoid the problem, since we do travel a fair amount. And I have been known to, well known, I have to, in hotel rooms through their USB port, charge up my phone. So we'll talk about what I've bought that will help me out with, you know, keeping myself safe. But you'll find the link for that video in the show notes below. You will also find, what else will you find? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, you are going to find the link for the pop-up sew day that's coming up this Saturday. This Saturday, June the 21st, starting at 8 a.m. and running until about 5 p.m., we're having an all-day sew-a-thon, I guess, pop-up sew day. If you've been here for a while, you know what these are. If you're new, it's just a day when you can pop on. It's a Zoom link. It is not recorded. It's not a YouTube live. And catch up on some of the projects you want to work on. Now, I know if the weather is nice on Saturday, you'll want to get out and about, and that's just fine. Don't feel that you have to be here right at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. You can come and go as you please. Anytime you want to go, for as long as you want to stay. Not a problem. I just leave the door open for you to have the opportunity to catch up on some of your projects. I've had people ask me, are you doing a tutorial? Are you doing a set project? No, it's very loosey-goosey. Yep, come enjoy the company of other like-minded sewers and just do whatever you want to do. And if you're not a quilter, but you're working on some kind of project, whether it be a sewing project or an art project or something like that, whatever, heck, you can reorganize your underwear drawer. It doesn't matter. It's just a day to be amongst other people, have nice drama-free conversation, and work away at whatever. Okay, so that's this coming Saturday, June the 21st, and the link for it is the very first link in the show notes, and it says Idiot Quilter Pop-Up Sew Day. Now, don't get that mixed up with Sewing with Steven, because that happens every Wednesday. It has a similar format to a pop-up sew day, and there is a Zoom link for that as well. However, some people just see the link for one of these and click it, and depending on which one you want to be at, you may click on the wrong link. So just read the first line. It tells you exactly what the link is for. There's other links in there as well of interest probably to you, or maybe of interest to you. And there's links to last week's videos as well. Okay, so let's go down to what am I going to next? Oh, yeah, let's take a look at the weather. Oh, one thing I forgot to show you. Yeah, I got ambitious on the weekend, decided to make new slip covers for our cushions for our chairs out on our deck, and that worked out pretty good. Just adds a splash of color to everything. Okay, outside looks like it's going to be nice. So the current temperature right now is 15 degrees C, which is weird because I'm looking at my phone off to the side here with the weather, and it says it's 15 degrees outside. My watch says it's 12 degrees. Mind you, I just realized my phone is set on Toronto, and my watch is set for here. So let's just see if I can find for my area. Okay, I didn't realize I had this many things set up in here. Okay, how do I change this? Here we go. Let's do a search. There's Oshawa. Okay, yeah, that's a little more like it. We're not as warm as Toronto, yet we're only, half an hour from the city. Yeah, it's cooler here. It's 13 degrees C, which is brisk. But it looks like our high is going to be 24, which is very, very nice, very comfortable. Any rain in the forecast? No rain. Yay, today. No rain, but rain tomorrow. 40% chance. Wednesday, 60% chance. Thursday. Okay, get out of that. Thursday. Can't see. Thursday is an 65% chance. Friday is 40% chance. Saturday it's a 40% chance. Sunday it's a 40% chance. And then Sunday, sunny again for a couple of days. Well, I know in parts of Canada we need the rain, so I hope those places with the forest fires are getting this rain that's coming. So Saturday, 40% chance rain. That's the pop-up sow day. So it could be raining in your area. So what better thing to do than stay indoors and sow? Okay, well, we'll see how that works out. But looking outside right now, it's looking very, very lovely. And that's nice because I'm going to go out for my walk after I finish recording this. And I like to get out there by 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's a nice time to walk. It's quiet usually at that time of the morning. And even though it's a little bit on the cool side, I find as you're walking, you warm up. And it's just, what's this term? Brisk. Brisk. That's the term I want to use. Okay, so that's what things are looking like outside right now. So let's talk a little bit about what's pissing me off. And okay, this is a topic that this is an extension of the topic from yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. Yesterday was a bit of a downer on Stephen and Walter Live because we basically examined the major news stories of the week, and it's all bad. Everything's bad. Excuse me. Everything that's happening in the United States, everything that's happening here, even here in Canada, the Middle East, and the ongoing wars in other parts of the world. And it got me thinking about our leadership in the world. And this is what's really pissing me off. Why do we, as people who put these leaders in power, why do we allow them to do what they're doing? These leaders, and I don't care who it is, they all are power hungry and they all have tyrannical characteristics. They're all dictators. And they do it all in the name of the people. Well, no, they don't. They're self-serving idiots. And they are idiots. These are not the sharpest tools in the shed. Okay? And we're not very sharp either for putting them into power. But of course, the argument there is, yeah, well, you have to vote for somebody. And if somebody that you really think should be in power was running, you'd vote for them. But unfortunately, it's only the rich and the stupid that can run for power. Yes, the rich and the stupid. The average person on the street doesn't have a chance of ever entering into politics unless they have a lot of money behind them. A lot of money. And the higher up you go in government levels, the more money it takes. And I think the higher up you go in the levels of government, the stupider they are. They are stupid people. We look to them for guidance. We expect them to know what they should be doing and doing the right thing. They're not. I mean, come on. Isn't there obvious examples of what I'm saying? One word, Trump. I don't need to say any more about that. We all know what kind of idiot he is and power-hungry person. But let's look over in the Middle East right now, and this is very, very disturbing. Israel. I can't believe what their leader is doing. He is basically doing mass genocide. He is wiping out the Palestinian people, and now he's working on the Iranians, sorry, not the Iranians, the Iranians. Okay, the argument there is that that's a small nation of very violent people. All right, we've had a history. It's true, okay, but they haven't attacked Israel, to my knowledge. But Israel sees them as a threat because they are developing their nuclear technology. Okay, in my opinion, nuclear technology was one of the worst inventions, thank you, Madame Curie, Thank you, Einstein and all the rest, who took those theories and basically, well, they didn't do it, but other people did, took those theories and changed it into a world annihilation bomb threat. And this is how Israel's looking right now at Iran, because they're enriching their nuclear supplies. Iran says it's for their own use, for, energy for their country. Israelis say, nope, you're too close next door. You could make a bomb and annihilate us. And so they have taken it upon themselves, the Israelis, under their leader, it's their leader, to wipe out the threat. And that means wiping out innocent people. Yeah. But nothing's fair about war, right? And we've lived with it our whole lives. And we've been living with it since the dawn of man. I mean, when man got up on his own hind 2 feet, he was holding the club in one hand, right? Well, that was a primitive form of an A-bomb. Maybe not as widespread, but he was using it fighting for survival. Well, in this day and age, and this is the argument you're going to hear from world leaders, they always talk about defense. NATO wants all these countries to up the ante here, put in more money. Canada is one of them. We've fallen behind, apparently, on, defense. Defense against who? Well, I guess you could say the rest of the world. You could say Russia, because, well, back during the Cold War and before, that was the big war cry, better dead than red, all that kind of thing. Yeah, could we get over some of this stuff? Yeah, Putin. Putin's no fun. He's a dictator. He needs to be removed, one way or another. But the fact is, once these leaders are in those positions, it is very hard to get rid of them. By any means. By any means. I mean, here on this side of the ocean, here in Canada, we are a democracy. We vote our leaders in. Well, yeah, okay. I can't say our prime minister is anything like Putin or Trump, because he's not. However, he does have the ability and he does have the power to control our fate. And we gave him that power by voting him in. Well, I don't know what the alternative is to that, and that's why I'm pissed off. Governments do not listen to the people. They make a lot of promises in a democracy where we get to vote for them, telling us they're going to do this and that for us. As soon as they get into power, we all know the story. Promises are meant to be broken, and they are by politicians every day. So we're really powerless. And that makes us feel like we have no control over our own lives. And that's not a good thing. When people feel weak, vulnerable, they are filled with fear, and they cause problems in society. And that's what we're seeing. Look at the uprisings in the United States that just are happening as I speak. Okay, those people are not happy. They're not happy with their government. And yeah, rightly so. And this is their way of making their pain known. Of course, do leaders really listen to that? No, they don't care. They don't care. All any politician cares about is his paycheck, and more so, maintaining his or her power. That's all they're interested in. They're not interested in us little people. We're the people that put them in power, though. So I'm pissed off at that we were so stupid and we did that. But I'm also pissed off because I don't know what the alternative is. How do you change that? It's just a vicious circle. And every time the wheel spins around, there's a little paddle on the side of it that slaps us across the face. We're constantly downtrodden by these people. And to add a little bit more pain to this kind of suffering, we pay big bucks for this privilege of being abused by the politicians. Because where does the money come from? us. Yes, from us. So I don't want to end this on a despairing note, but there's no other way to end it. We're fucked. Sorry. But we really are. And that's what I'm really pissed off about. Okay, let's move on before we, go to hell in a handbasket. Okay. Grow lights. Grow lights always cheer me up when I look at it. Green things make me happy. And my lettuce right now is making me very happy. And I think tonight for dinner, we're having a guest for dinner tonight, and I'm going to make a nice leafy salad from our lettuce that's growing here, looking very nice. And it's right at the peak of its bestness. There's a new word. It's at a peak of its peak. Let's put it that way. And yeah, this looks delicious. So we need to harvest it now. Otherwise, at the very edges of the leaves are going to start to get a little brown, and we don't want that. And oh yes, we'll have a few peppers in the salad as well. They are doing lovely. Now, Walter took a couple of pots of these peppers and put them outdoors, and they look like they're climatizing to the outdoor weather, and they're doing okay. Maybe next week I will show you how the garden grows. It's still, in the early stages of things, but again, it looks really nice when everything gets really nice and bushy in about July out in the deck. Now that brings me joy. So yeah, there you can find things that keep your mind off of what's happening out there in the world. Grow something. Okay, new products are other things that bring me joy as well. Now, you already saw the review of the video, and they talked about USB blockers. So I immediately went onto Amazon. They're very inexpensive, and I bought a package of 4. Here they are. I think they cost me about $10 for this. I haven't tried them out yet, and I'm and here's the thing I got thinking about it. How will I ever know if these work or not? Because yeah, to date I have not had anybody hack my phone. But it's just a little added insurance, and in my little electronics bag that I always take when we travel, I will throw those in, and yeah, I'll be sure to be plugged into those when I'm attaching my phone for recharging in my hotel rooms. So yeah, but I guess it's better safe than sorry, right? And this particular pack has, connections for USB, and for USB-A's and for USB-C's as well. So I'm covered, and hopefully they do the job. Okay, so that's all that I've bought that's new. But have I been doing things on the 3D printer? Can I print that effing thing? Well, I've just been going crazy on that. And let me show you what I've been making. Okay, this is first little item. Okay, this is a little caddy. The thing about this was you can design whatever you want using a program on Maker World, which is absolutely free. And Maker World is owned, I believe, by Bamboo Studios. So I designed this little caddy. Now, I've made 3 of them. 2 of them were for our bathroom. I had made a few years ago a caddies that look very much like this. So we could put our toothpaste and toothbrushes and things like that and keep the counter tidied up. I made one for myself. I made one for Walter. Well, I replaced them. They were getting a little worn. They weren't as well constructed as this one. And so they're looking great in the bathroom. And then I decided, well, I needed a new one that sits over by my 3D printers to hold all my tools. So I did that. Now the program, you can go to Maker World, it's called, and you see here something called Make My Desk Organizer, because that's the program I used, and it's very easy. It takes you through the steps step by step. If you can move a mouse around and drop shapes onto a space, you can make whatever you want in any size, any shape. And there's a lot of programs on Maker World right now that do something that are automatic. You don't have to know how to design in AutoCAD or in an AutoCAD program. And I think that's where what we're leaning towards now. I think the people who produce 3D printers, and because more and more people are getting into 3D printing, they're now making programs where you can make your own things very easily. So customization is the trend right now. And Maker World, I think, is ahead of anybody else when it comes to this. As I said, they have a variety of these kind of products and very easy to use. So yeah, I was very happy with the way that turned out. And okay, you're going to say, what the hell is that? Fingers? No, that's supposed to be bananas. Okay, I saw this and thought, yeah, I need to make one just to try it out. It's a banana bowl. Now, obviously, you could put bananas in it, and that's actually what I'm going to use it for. It sits on top of one of my microwaves in my kitchen, and when I get some bananas, they're going to go in there. And actually, if you think about it, the design of this is good for bananas because if you buy green bananas, and yeah, usually you buy, they're not fully ripe yet, and you have to leave them out somewhere. But they need some air circulation around the bunch. And if you tuck them into a Tupperware container or something that's got 4 solid sides or a bowl or something like that, air doesn't circulate as well, so your ripening process is a little uneven. So this is designed so that there's space between the fingers, the bananas, and it will allow for circulation of air. At least that's the theory, and I'm going with it. So, and I just think it's kind of fun. It's just cute. You could always wear it as a hat if you don't want to keep it for your bananas. Okay, this one I'm loving. I am not a Star Wars fan. I mean, I like Star Wars movies or have, but I don't get all into them. But we have a friend coming for dinner and we're celebrating his birthday. And he's into these kind of movies. He's into these kind of electronic games, the spacey kind of things or whatever. So when I saw this, I saw it on another channel. I think it was the 3D Printing Nerd. I watch his channel a lot. He made one of these. It took about 17 hours to print, but it came out beautifully. And it's a bit tongue-in-cheek because it's Darth Vader. They call it Urban Darth Vader because he's wearing like the hoodie, the baggy pants, the running shoes, and the whole bit. And on his hoodie, he's got, "I am your father." And this was all done on the printer, on my bamboo printer, and it's all printed in one piece. It had supports. The supports came right off, no problem. It's a beautiful print. It really printed well. So I'm giving that as a gift, and that's not a gift. So yeah, what else was I working on? Yep, I guess that's it. So the caddies, Darth Vader, and the banana bowl. Okay, so that takes me to old video clips from S&W Live, and this time this clip is we were talking about fish, the kind you eat. And neither one of us are a fan of fish. I am definitely not a fan of fish, but we talk a little bit about it. It's kind of a fishy tale. Sorry.
There's only 3 foods that I absolutely hate: liver, beets, and fish. So if you want to see me die, serve me those 3 on one plate. Yeah, but that's because it's all battered and whatnot. And actually, when we were in England, I did try the fish and chips that they make from cod because usually I'm a real stickler. I want it to be halibut, but apparently halibut isn't.
It's more of a Canadian
thing. That it's cod over in England, I guess, and maybe haddock. Well, I tried the cod, and actually, it was very good. I didn't mind that at all.
He doesn't like it if it tastes fishy.
I don't like if it tastes fishy.
And I am not a big fish fan because my mother used to cook fish all the time, and I used to hate the smell of it when I was a kid. And I will tolerate fish a little better than he will, but it's something I generally do not order in a restaurant because if it tastes too fishy, it turns me right off. And the few times that I have ordered it in a restaurant, I get an urge for something, then I quickly change my mind and think, oh, that was a waste of money.
Yeah, well, you see, with fish,
restaurant food, I don't like to order. If it's at home, and you make it and it doesn't turn out well, that's one thing. But if you order something in a restaurant, you pay a lot of money for it, and it's lousy, or it's not something that you like, I always feel it's a ripoff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Anita says she loves pickled beets, and she says, but she doesn't like to mix her food still. And B says she hates liver, but haddock is good without the batter, she says. I tried. We went on a stage way back years ago. Well, actually,
that was when the doctor told you you had a cholesterol
Yeah.
problem, and so he suggested you eat fish. We tried fish, every which way, and it just
we tried different kinds.
It's not even you got a mild fish, even if it wasn't fishy. It's the texture. It's just
Nope, can't love it. My parents love fish, so my mother would serve fish once a week. Yeah, that was. And if she really wanted to piss me off, she'd serve fish and beets with mashed potatoes and let everything touch. I mean, it's a wonder I wasn't in therapy, is all I can say. Thanks a lot. Well, I'm picking her home now, so whatever on that one. And Anita also says I can't do liver or fish either. Yeah, and you want to know something? I wish I did like fish or seafood. I don't.
I mean, you like crab and you like lobster.
Well, I like lobster. I like shrimp and crab, but
it has to be the real crab.
And they can't taste fishy.
Yeah,
they have to be very fresh with it. If there's any fishiness about them,
yeah, like I bought frozen shrimp before, and that's usually okay.
Yeah.
But then once in a while you get a batch and they taste a little bit fishy.
Yeah.
And even I don't like that either.
Oh, and if you want to see me turn green, show me an oyster.
I've never had them, and I don't really want them.
Okay, I don't know how many people would know what these are. They're called quahogs. Quahogs are a shelled piece of seafood. They look like clams, I guess. And they're very popular in the East Coast of Canada at certain times of the year. Well, I had friends when I was a kid that came from the East Coast of Canada, and they used to get these all shipped up to them to Ontario from New Brunswick. And so they gave me one once. And now they knew I hated seafood and that kind of stuff. I said, no, try this, try this. So they opened up the shell, and I kind of slurped it out. It was very salty at first. And they went, and it just sort of slid down my throat. And they went, you did chew that first, didn't you? Because it's still alive. And I guess they still talk about it this day, 50 years later, how green I went.
Well, I think I would do the same thing.
What's that?
I think I would do the same thing.
Yeah. But
they do not appeal to me.
No. But I've often, my father loved smoked oysters. The ones you get in the can, they're covered in the oil. The cat we had when I was a kid too loved them as well. The cat would do backflips like those Temptation commercials.
I've had them. They're not.
Oh, they're gross.
I don't really care for them.
They're gross. They're rubbery. They're like this slimy mucous membrane with smoking a whole pack of cigarettes before you put it in your mouth.
Somebody let me
taste
mussel before too, and it tastes okay, but I don't think I'd order it.
Oh, there's
so I've had scallops. I don't mind scallops, and
too fishy.
Yeah, he won't have scallops.
No,
I will eat scallops.
They look delicious, and apparently on that show that Ramsay does, Hell's Kitchen or whatever.
I don't like them when they're really rubbery though.
Well, no one seems to be able to cook them for him the way they're supposed to be cooked, so I'm not sure how they're supposed to be cooked, but I don't like them anyway. So Anita says, I used to love shrimp, but got food poisoning once, and that did it for any and all fish. Yeah, I could see that being a problem. Oh, and sushi? Oh, God, no. And you know what pisses me off about that is every other street corner now in this country has some place where you can get sushi. I'm not Japanese. I'm Canadian. I don't want to eat raw fish.
Like actually, one of the women I worked with, Amy, she was Taiwanese, and she would make her own sushi. But then she'd make something called, I think they're called California rolls or something like this. And they don't actually have fish in them. They just have the seaweed, they have the rice, and then they have like a little vegetable in the middle. So she gave me one of those, and she goes, there's no fish in it. There's no fish in it. So I ate half of it. And I said, how come it tastes fishy if there's no fish in it? She goes, oh, I put fish powder in it, which sounds absolutely disgusting.
And seaweed or kelp.
The seaweed wrap, no thanks. I don't like the texture.
Let's just think about seaweed for a minute. It comes out of the sea. What's ounces in the sea? Sea life, fish. Where do fish go to the bathroom? In the sea. What does seaweed do? It catches their crap. What are you eating? You're eating fish shit on a green leaf. Oh, yuck.
That kind of turned me off too. So I said no. And then Luba, one of the women I worked with, sucked me into one day when we were in Toronto for a course. She got me to go to one of these sushi places, but actually I had something other than sushi. So, but it still was.
Yuck. Yeah. Well, no.
It was still too. There's stuff in it that I didn't really.
Well, I had something once.
The bento box.
Yeah, that. Yeah. Which actually, at the first when I first had it, there wasn't any fish in it. It had a California roll and stuff like that. I didn't mind it, but as I got working my way through it, I was starting to get a little green. Like I
don't really care for, even if it's California roll or anything. Even if it doesn't taste fishy, I don't like the texture. And I don't like the fact that it's cold. And
B says, my grandfather used to eat oysters in the late Victorian era. They were very popular and cheap then. Love lobster, but it's too expensive. Seaweed is called lava bread in Wok and popular to eat. I'm not sure. I think maybe spell checker kicked in on that one too in Wok, whatever that is, but popular to eat. Yeah, well, these same.
Is that Wok, W-O-K?
No, W-A-L-K.
Yeah, I think that's probably a spell checker.
That's bread and Wok. Yeah. Okay, but these same people that made me eat the raw quahog thing, the slimy little mucous membrane on the half shell, they also made me eat seaweed once. Kelp. They called it kelp. And it's disgusting. It's chewy and salty and no, don't like it. And sushi is wrapped in seaweed sometimes. I don't know. Whatever.
And so it takes me to events in the past week. Well, I mentioned that I'm having a pop-up sew day this coming Saturday, but Russ of Quilt Meets World had a sewing day. He calls it Sewing Shenanigans on Sunday, which was a lot of fun. And if you've never been to one of Russ's sewing shenanigans, he always holds them on a Sunday. Watch his channel. He usually announces them a few days before on his Wednesday vlogs. And there is a link to Quilt Meets World, Russ's channel, in my show notes as well. But anyways, we had that. And, well, we have a new pet. Yes. Is it a cat? No. Is it a dog? No. It's Todd the Toad. Yeah, there he is. Todd the Toad. Okay. So I was out cleaning underneath the deck last week, and as I'm vacuuming things, I look over in one corner, and there's this big toad sitting there. And I reassured him that I would not suck him up in the vacuum cleaner. He got a little nervous. He peed a little, as toads do, and that was fine. I didn't touch him. When I was a kid, when I was a little boy, we used to go out and hunt for toads kind of thing. I'd be in the garden and everything, picking them up and carrying them around and whatnot. But now I figured, yeah, I'm out of that stage of life. Let the toad be. And so there he was. And I finished cleaning up, and about an hour later, I looked out on the patio and he was gone. So I figured he hopped away. Well, the other day he reappeared. I think Todd the Toad lives under our deck. I think he might be living under the hot tub, because our hot tub is leaking a little bit. We got to get rid of it. It's old. It's 25 years old. Anyways, they do love water. It is shady under there, so it's cooler. And so, yeah. And I don't mind sharing our deck, our patio, with a toad. Toads are a good thing to have. If you find a lot of toads, it means that the environment... I don't know how I know this. I read it somewhere. It says that the environment's in better shape when there's a lot of toads, because toads basically, I think, breathe through their skin. And if there's a lot of pollutants and things like that in the airs, well, kind of wipes out toads. So yeah. So this is our pet, Todd the Toad. And he's a cute little sucker, isn't he, in sort of an ugly way? So yeah, we have a new pet. Okay. So, that takes me. Oh, and one other little story that happened just yesterday, actually. We went out for our walk before we did the live, and a lady had a dog on a leash. Well, it wasn't really on a leash. It was more like a rope around this little doggy's neck. The dog did not have a collar. And she says to us, "Do you know who owns this dog? Is this your dog?" And we went, "Nope, we don't have a dog." And it was a nice dog. And it looked like it had all just been groomed and everything like that. It may have been a poodle. Not absolutely sure about that. And friendly. I was petting it and it was, hopping around. So I think it was kind of a youngish dog. Anyways, she saw it just wandering around, nobody around it, no leash, no collar, nothing. So she has dogs too, so she kind of leashed them up, and she was walking through the neighborhood looking to see if someone was looking for their dog. I think he may have escaped from somebody's backyard, and he seemed like one of those kind of dogs, like he was probably an escape artist. Um, it was a nice dog though, really. If it wasn't for the fact that we go away a lot, and dogs have to be attended to, kind of a thing. I would have said, well, if nobody wants this dog, we'll take him. But anyways, we said as we were going on with our walk, we said, well, we'll keep our eyes open for anybody who looks like they might be searching for a missing dog and that, and we'll let them know. And she's told us where she lived and everything. So we said, yeah. And we suggested that maybe she puts it on one of those neighborhood apps, missing dog and that kind of thing. And when we got back from the walk, Walter went on there to see if anybody had posted they were missing a dog, and he did find one. He said it was hard. The picture wasn't that great, so he couldn't tell whether it was this dog. It looked similar, he said. So I don't know if he sent them a message and told them, don't know if this is your dog, but here's where it is if it is. So I hope that someone comes and claims this little dog. He didn't look like he'd been mistreated or anything like that. Like I said, he looked like he had just been freshly groomed. And he was a friendly little thing. Unfortunately for the lady who found him, her dogs didn't like this dog. So yeah, that was a problem. I think she kind of was, "Here, you want to take this dog?" Went, "No, sorry, do not." So anyways, hopefully we'll hear that doggy has been reunited with his owners. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, I already talked about the pop-up so day on Saturday. Way advanced warning. My birthday bash pop-up day, that's not until July, so there'll be things for that, okay? I'm purposely not saying the date of it because people have been writing me. They're getting dates mixed up. And I did a number about that yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. So, yeah. We have the Canadian Quilt Show this coming Thursday. We're going to be there. Some of my regular subscribers that come from the area are going to be there too. So we are sort of made semi-plans to possibly get together while we're at the Canadian Quilt Show. So I am going to be taking as much video as I possibly can while we're doing that. And that will be what So Chatty will be all about this coming Friday. So stay tuned for that. And of course, down on the road at the end of July, we are off to London, England, and then to Birmingham for the Festival of Quilts show. So, yeah, lots of things coming up and looking forward to that. We have a guest, as I mentioned before. Sorry, I cleared my throat. For dinner tonight, a friend of ours, to celebrate his birthday a month after the fact, basically. So that'll be fun. And yeah, that's it for now. Of course, I'll carry on with my projects and everything else and share that with you next week. Okay, so I hope you have a great week. I hope to see some of you on Wednesday Sewing with Stephen, and I hope to see many of you on Saturday for the Pop-Up Sew Day as well. So have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye for now.